Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Strap yourself in because we're set up, switched on and ready to go.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
Good evening, fellow Fox fans. How the devil are we? Got the Euros out the way now. That's all done and dusted. We can start talking about the proper football, can't we? Yeah. Back to talking about Leicester. It's what we all do best. Bugger off England. You had your chance. You blew it. We're back to the proper football. And tonight, we've got three in. I'm not used to Leicester doing business this early, but we're going to do a special show, transfer show. We're going to look at the rumours. Well, we're going to look at who's come in, and then we're going to look at the rumours about who might be coming in, and of course, the other way, who might be going out. And if we've got time at the end, we might be looking at, who's going to shake it all about as well. But hey, got to bring him back in. You. Last time we spoke to this gentleman, he was young, free, and single. Now he's chained, manacled, and tied to the sink, but happy and still got a smile on his face. Married, Josh. Hello, and congratulations, young man.
Cheers, Chris. It's been a mad month, my last month or so, put it that way. But it's been good, mate. It's been good. It's just now, it's like you say, it's back to football now, and back to sort of calming down, hopefully.
I love the fact that you obviously wedding plans got changed a bit, but you managed to fit it in between seasons, which was all good. But of course, you did have your big day, and I hope that it went well. And is she still a McSporran or is she now a Herod?
Oh, she's Herod, mate. Herod. She took my last name, bless her.
Well, no disrespect to her, but I don't blame her, really. But, hey, seriously, don't tell her I said that, will you? But no, seriously, from everybody at Leicester Till I Die, mate, congratulations. And
bless you. Thank you very much. And I seen, obviously, the day after I got married, I seen your post you put up, so really nice. I was appreciated that, bud. Thank you.
Glad, mate. Not a problem at all. Not a problem at all. My marriage ended in abject failure, but I'm sure nobody else's ever does. It's just mine. But no, hey, get on, enjoy yourself, and I give my best. Give my best to your good lady.
I will do. Yeah, she needs it looking after me. Bless her.
She's got 3 kids, hasn't she? You're 2 girls and you.
Yeah, that's it. I'm the third kid.
Yeah, we always are, of course. We always are. Just to remind you, we are on Facebook, Leicester Till I Die, the group, Twitter at Leicester TID, and if you are watching on YouTube, and if you're not, please nip over to YouTube. It's Leicester Till I Die TV. Please press my buttons. I like my buttons to be pressed, as I say every show. It gives me a giggle, makes me happy. Press them buttons and get subscribing if you can. So we're just going to say a couple of hellos first of all. He says if he presses the right button, you wouldn't think I'd been doing this for nearly a year now, would you? Chelsea, Ankit, good evening, mate. Check the channel out there, RC Bain Chelsea Fan TV. It's a good channel, and it does cricket as well if you're into cricket. Why you'd be into cricket, I don't know, but there we go. Congratulations to get ex-UCL winner. Oh yes, in Bertrand. Yeah, he's not been at Chelsea for about 30 years, mate. Come on, get over it. Get over it. And then a couple of Facebook users saying good evening there. Stick your name on the end, guys, if you're not logging in, and then we know who to say hello back to. But it's not like us, is it, Josh, as Leicester, to get our business done early?
Not really. We seem to, especially the last couple of seasons, really, we seem to sort of drag us business out a bit. I know, obviously, the season before last, it seemed like we were sort of waiting on the Maguire money to sort of really bring anybody in. And obviously, we brought in Jose Perez in fairly early, from what I can remember. But yeah, we usually see, it seems to be, we seem to wait a few weeks before we actually pull the trigger on anything. So it's nice to see 3 new faces in, definitely.
It is, definitely. And 3, what I think, very good faces. But let's have a look at the first one there. Ryan, I keep wanting to call him Bertrand. I want to make him more sexier than he is. That
bit French. A bit of a French twist to it.
I know. I don't know why. I can't stop myself. But Ryan Bertrand from Southampton. Got him in there. Not our normal sort of player to go for, but I can understand why.
For me, it's cracking signing, mate. When we were first linked with him, and there were talks that, and I think even from the word go, really, I think we were sort of big favourites to get him in, and it was sort of one of them deals where I thought, well, Fuchs has gone, Morgan's gone. He's going to bring, Bertrand's going to bring quite a bit of experience, especially, especially at the left back position where, Luke Thomas coming through the way he has done. It can only be a good thing for him, really, as well, because how many games Bertrand going to play? I think he'll start a lot more than what people are going to originally think, to be honest. But again, mate, yeah, it's a really good experience there to have in the dressing room. He's like you say, he's been at Chelsea before. He's been at Southampton, where he's done exceptionally well. So he's always sort of been a thorn in our side, to be honest, whenever we played us. So it's perfect signing to get him on a free. It's amazing business.
It was, and I think he's 31. He's got a 2-year contract. I think we at one point only wanted to give him a year, but I'm just looking. We've got David James. What am I saying? James Justin. You're just giving me one of those nights here, can't you? James Justin, who is out still probably till December. So we have got Luke Thomas, but I think he only played. Just looking here, Luke Thomas about 15 games last season, 14 games. But of course, he scored. He scored in the Europa League. He scored against Man United. Not shy on confidence, because he shouted at Jamie Vardy to leave the ball so he could score. But he is still only young.
He is a young lad, and like I said, just goes back to what I say. Really, it's unfortunate. I think we all expected Christian Fuchs to leave when he did. I think he probably. I think the reason, obviously, we've gained him another year after season was just purely for his influence in the dressing room. I think he played a massive part in sort of the team unity, I guess. So, I guess, getting a player like Bertrand in, he's a bit young,
he's had experience, because we've lost Wes Morgan as well.
Definitely, It's the experience and the strength and depth that we're going to need going into next season. Another season in European football as well as cup competition. So the signing made all the sense in the world for me, and to get him on a free, like I say, I can't see why anybody would have been against it, to be honest with you.
No. I mean, we were, like you say, we're fighting again for the sake on 4 fronts next season, and we want to be, and we are going to be coming on to players that might be leaving in the third part of the show. But we don't want to be reducing the size of our squad. If anything, because it was proved last season, we need to increase it. And he does give us, like you say, that experience. But the other 2 signings we've made, cracking signings. We've got everybody jealous. I mean, I'm already thinking in 2 years' time, these are players that we're going to get 80 million back from Man United, Liverpool, or Arsenal, who like to seem to see who we buy, let us nurture them for a couple of seasons, and then pay 5 times as much as we did to get them. But Soumare in the midfield, he's given up, as indeed has Daka. They've both given up Champions League football to come to us.
Exactly, mate, and it just goes to show the direction that we're heading in, to be able to, pluck these signings from teams that, as you say, the likes of Liverpool are in for Daka, Soumare, and for us to be in the position we are and to get them for relatively really cheap, to be honest with you. I'm not going to pretend I've seen a lot of them. I've seen Soumare play a few times. Again, since we were linked with him, I thought, well, he's a name to look at when he's playing. I've watched videos here and there, but. It's just, you go from, like, I always sort of, nowadays, if I don't know a player, I'd sort of judge, what their teammates are saying, and you can get a lot from what their ex-coaches were saying and stuff. And from the sounds of it and from what I've seen of these lads, they are going to be, I'm touch wood anyway, I don't want to jinx it, but they're going to be amazing players for us. And like you said, mate, it might mean in 2 or 3 years' time they really kick on and teams come in for mega money. And right, well, fair enough. Yeah, we'll sell on, but we do it year in, year out. We just managed to find these players, and it's all down to the scouting network. It's absolutely fantastic.
I mean, a lot of people were saying, a lot of Leicester fans were saying, "Oh, we didn't get Champions League," and it's going to sort of reduce the chance of getting players that we want to get in. And yet, you've got a player here that's just won the league in France. Although a lot of people are saying what's happening to Lille was exactly what happened to Monaco when they'd won it. They lose all the best players. But still, had he stayed there or gone to Liverpool, he would have got Champions League. But no, he's come to us. Same with Daka as well. RS Salzburg, Austrian champions, would have won. Would have had Champions League football in some form. But they've given it and they've come to Leicester. And let's be honest with you, years ago, Martin O'Neill used to joke that he would bring players into Filbert Street and reverse them out onto the pitch so that they could see the Carling stand and not the family stand opposite. And you're thinking that's no longer, you wheel them into that training ground now and say, this is what you're coming to. So it hasn't harmed us, has it, at all in any way?
Definitely not being in the Champions League. Not, mate. And no way. And I think, again, and you've hit the nail on the head. Little things. It's a thing to us again. The training facility we've got now, that's got to turn so many heads. When they turn up and see that, they must think, bloody hell, like these, these ain't messing about. Really, it's things like that that are really going to stand us in good stead now. And players are going to come in and look at the facilities and think, blimey, everybody knows, like you say, after the FA Cup win and Premier League win, our name's out there already, but things like the training ground and players we bring in and the success we are having, challenging that top six, it's going to hopefully keep bringing players of this calibre in for us. Long may it continue anyway.
Oh, yes, indeed. And I am excited by Daka. I've got to be honest with you. We know he's going to be Vardy's replacement long term, don't we?
Say that again, sorry.
So we know he's going to be Vardy's replacement long term.
You'd think so, mate. Yeah, I think this is probably the season where, unfortunately, with Vards, I don't think we're going to see him as often as what we would. And just another quick point on that, to be honest, I think he's, as much as we love Vards, I think he's sort of come to realise that maybe, his legs ain't going on him as such, because he's still quick when he wants to be, and the shift he puts in for us, the goals and assists he gets for us, he'll go down as an all-time legend for us, and rightly so. But I think it sort of told a lot when he bought stakes in that American, was it second league football team or something? Yeah. And judging from his statements and from what he said, I think he sort of realises he's coming towards the end of his career, unfortunately. But like you say, the videos we've seen of Daka and from what we've heard of him, he looks the ideal replacement. I mean, the bloke's an absolute goal machine. It's ridiculous.
It is. And I mean, I think Leicester can be a little bit like the Hotel California. You sign in and you never leave. Look at Christian Fuchs. He tried to leave every year. We wouldn't let him go. But I think Vardy, I think next season, or this coming up season, 21-22, is going to be the season when he slowly bows out. Because I think moving on from that, we're going to look at him more a bit like Albrighton as a super sub. I mean, he can't do it for 90 minutes. in 4 different competitions, but bring him on for the last 15 minutes when their defence is knackered. You know, you can imagine, you know, the defence is going, oh, God, we're knackered here. You know, last 10 minutes, oh, shit, Vardy's coming on. You know, you can see it.
Exactly, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like you say, you know, you got the pace of Daka and exactly what you just said, defensive thinking, oh, thank God he went off. Then see Vardy come on. And they must think, shit. Do you know what I mean? It's a good weapon to have off the bench, definitely.
Yeah. But like I say, I think he is looking, I think, at his retirement plan, shall we say. So we're going to have a look. Those are the 3 that we've got in. Three great signings. And it's nice to see, I say, Leicester doing the main business early. I still think there's a couple of, for me, places to fill. I mean, I would like another right winger to come in because I think Marc Albrighton, and we'll come on to him later. As with Vardy, we've just said, you know, 90 minutes, 4 competitions might be a bit too much. Under didn't work out. And watching him in the Euros, you know, you can see why. But we're going to look at the gaps, but I can see that. But I'm not sure about this guy. We're not looking first of all at this guy here, Robin Gosens. He's been linked with us quite heavily. German international there, but maybe the signing of Ryan Bertrand. I'm at it again. Ryan Bertrand, Ryan Bertrand coming in has probably put an end to that one, hasn't it? Do you think?
I think maybe it has, and I think again with Gosens, it was one of them where it was a player that we've been looking at for quite a while from what you can read and what we've heard. I think maybe, you know, it looks like a signing that won't come off now. We've got Bertrand in because, you know, like you say, with full-back wise or wing-back wise, really, we look pretty good, really. You know, like I said, apart from Justin's out till looks like winter and Christmas time. So it is a player who I'd like to come in because it's ever to be fair, ever since we played Atalanta in the pre-season friendly a couple of seasons back, and the team that I sort of played, I paid quite close attention to after that. I'm quite Italian football. I'm quite a big fan of Inter Milan, so I follow quite a bit of Italian football. So, Atalanta from when we played them, I really impressed them. I think it was their first season in the Champions League that year as well, and we played well against them, and they played really well against us. So, but yeah, I think he's definitely a player who maybe next season, if he's still available, if nobody else comes in for him, then maybe we should go for. I think attacking wise, he's been absolutely superb at the Euros. You've seen that for when he played for Germany. So, unfortunately, I don't think it's a transfer that could happen this season. Potentially in the future, who knows?
Who knows, indeed. JJ, we're going to come on to that in a second. So we've got, you say, Gosens there. Somebody else we've been linked with who Liverpool had last season, Ozan Kabac. Now, Liverpool didn't want to pay the $8.5 million. I think that they would have needed to have secured him. Apparently, we could get him for just slightly less than that. Another midfielder. Do you think we would need him now?
I think he's a centre back, Chris.
Oh, is he centre back? Sorry,
sorry,
I'm getting my players confused. Yes, he is a centre back. You're quite right, sir. Well done.
Yeah, on that signing, again, it looks like a deal that's pretty close from what you read and from what you can hear. He's another player that we were looking at before he even went to Liverpool. I think we were trying to get him in on loan at one point. Big friends with Soyuncu, the Turkish pair in between them. From what I watched, his start at Liverpool weren't great. I think he were a bit hit and miss in the early games, but after that, from what I saw and from what I heard, he sort of settled into it a little bit. And I know there were a few games where a few of their fans said he was one of their better players. So again, if you could get him in cheap, then why not? I think we're going to, Morgan's obviously retired now, so we're going to sort of need to bring another centre back just for strength in depth, really, because we're going to have to play that much football this season, and it looks like he's sort of maybe adapted towards European football, maybe more than Premier League, with the pace of the Premier League, really. So for me, it'd be a good signing, and if we get him in cheap, why not? Especially like I said, with the Turkish connection between him and Kags, it'd make perfect sense.
It would. It certainly would. I think wasn't Kabac the guy that had the confusion with the Liverpool goalkeeper that let us in for our first goal, the equaliser when we played them last season. Yeah, but hey, it was about his first or second game, and I think it was more the goalkeeper's fault than his fault, in fairness. But he was quite. He played 13 times.
I think you know what it was, Chris. I think he was looking around at the stadium and thought, "Oh God, I'd love to play here next season." And the ball's come to him, and him and Allison have just got a bit confused.
I love it.
Like
I love it, mate. Brilliant. We played 13 times for Liverpool. Before that, obviously, had a couple of seasons at Schalke 04. Well, where he still is, obviously. He got 3 goals at Schalke as well. So, you know, he knows where the net is. And I do feel that we do need an extra centre back, because you've got Johnny Evans there, who is obviously the new Morgan, as in the experienced defender, but again, he's no spring chicken, and that's no disrespect to him, because he's very good at calming the game down, holding onto the ball, etc. But it's when he gets an injury, as we've seen, he's not going to be coming back like Vardy was. You know, when they used to come back after a couple of weeks, now it's 4 or 5 weeks. So I think we do need that cover there, to be honest with you, and an experienced cover, because you know a lot of the defenders we know, as much as we love Soyuncu, he can go off for wandering and try a Brazilian touch too much that can get his colleagues in defence in a bit of a mess. But of course, Tarkowski, who it seems to have gone a bit quiet on now, but you know at the start, well, before the Euros, those links wouldn't go away.
Mm-hmm. To be honest with you, mate, I think you're absolutely spot on with what you said about an experienced centre back. Definitely, I think when we play a back three of Evans, Soyuncu, and Fofana, both Fofana and Soyuncu look so much more comfortable, because to have Johnny Evans in your ear for all 90 minutes, telling you where to be, you know, when to push on, when to drop back, it must be an absolute dream, because he's been there and done it, and you can tell that. You know, Evans gets injured, you take him out of that back line, and Soyuncu and Fofana at times, unfortunately, they look all over the place because they've got nobody sort of, which is fair enough. You know, they're both young lads, so they sort of haven't got that experienced sort of word in the rear about, you know, nurturing them through each game. So I think you're spot on, mate. To be honest with you, if we can get a more experienced centre back in, then definitely, because it's only going to help. In the short term, it's going to help anyway. But yeah, it's spot on. Yeah. Absolutely spot on. Couldn't agree more with you.
I mean, he's still young. That's my only worry. He is 21. I must admit, I did fancy James Tarkowski as the cover, if you like, because he's been around a long time. He's played in the Premier League a few years, so he's got that experience. But then again, that didn't particularly, you know, hamper Fofana when he came in, did it? The fact that he didn't know the Premier League.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Yeah, that's right. And what a player he's turned out to be. So.
Exactly. And, you know, if we're talking 30 million for Tarkowski and 8 million possibly for Kabac, then, you know, financially, it's a no-brainer, is it?
Yeah, definitely. Again, I think maybe we are sort of looking at cheapish signings. Probably for again, you know, you sort of go back to COVID and how that sort of it financially it clubs, and apart from obviously the likes of Man City that can go and spend hundreds of millions, but we tend to sort of, and again, it goes down to our scouting and club direct and the director of football, really. You know, Rudkin, the deals we make on players is absolutely outstanding. So, but yeah, I agree with everything you said there, mate. I think if we get another centre back in, preferably experienced, then it'd be absolutely brilliant.
JJ, I'm not sure about this one, but he'd take David Luiz as cover for Champions League. Yes. Sorry, JJ. No disrespect. You said ridiculous. I think we'll move on from that one. I think, you know, I think he does more good for Leicester at another club than he will actually do for Leicester at our club. Now, this next one, I must admit, in Domenico Berardi, I had never heard of this club before. I don't know what you know about this guy, but Sassuolo. I don't know how you pronounce it. You know the Italian football, don't you?
I think it's pronounced Sassuolo. Here's a random fact for you about these, and about the Serie A in general. I don't know if it's been quite for a lot of football social media networks for the last couple of days that they apparently the Serie A, the Italian football, are banning the use of green in any football kit. So that's why they were saying these are going to be pretty screwed because that's their home kit.
Well, yeah, exactly. Why are they banning green? What? As it clashes with the grass?
I honestly have no idea. It's crazy, and it's bloody mental.
I mean, to be honest with you, that's up there with Alex Ferguson making his team change the strip at half time because it clashed with the crowd.
When they wore grey, yeah.
Yeah.
But on Berardi again, he's a player. Like I say, I watch quite a bit of Italian football. He's a player that's really stood out, especially this season. And he had a fantastic Euros as well. You know, he didn't start against England, but he came on and obviously scored his penalty in the shootout. And I thought he played pretty well. So I think that'd be quite a bit of a statement signing, if I'm being honest, because from what I know and from what you hear, there's quite a few big clubs sort of touting him, whether they'll make a move this season or not, whether they sort of look at it and think we'll give him another season in Serie A and then we'll see where we are then. So it might sort of have to be one of them where if we do make a move, he's going to have to be this pre-season, because he could play on either wing, I think. Predominantly, I think he is a right winger. So he's
a right. Although you did get me worried because I got it wrong before, but I just had to check. But Wikipedia have actually got him down as a forward. But I did think he was right wing.
Yeah, he does play. I mean, for Sassuolo last season, I'm pretty sure he played predominantly as a right winger, and he really stood out there. That's why his name's been touted around all over the place at the minute. So yeah, it's a signing where I think if we are to do it, then it's sort of going to have to be now rather than next season, when I think potentially he could go to one of the bigger clubs.
Well, he's 26 years old. He's only ever played for that club that I can't mention. He joined them when they were in Serie B, but they've been in Serie A basically since 2013. But he's played 275 times and he's got 105 goals. So, he would add something to us. But this next player that we've been linked with is the one that, I've got to be totally honest with you, actually really excites me. And I would love, and the rumours are that we are favourites to get him. And that's Daniel James at Manchester United, who again would be on that right wing. And he plays for Wales, and he had a really good Euros himself.
I think it is a sort of player where you could definitely see it happening. I think it's for me. Whenever you watch him, he's very similar to RV Barnes. He's not scared to run at defences. His pace is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. His end product he needs to work on a bit, but he's still a young lad. I think for Man United, he's done all right. I mean, I think last season he didn't play much football for him really, but when you got the likes you could pick between Martial, Cavani, Rashford, Rashford and Martial could play either wing. They got Sancho now. Unfortunately, don't look like he's going to be playing for them, but he's definitely a player that I think we should be interested in without doubt. Like you say, I think we're pretty much favourites to sign him. It'd make all the sense in the world for me, because if you can imagine, again, if Vardy's going to be benched and you've got a front three of James, Harvey Barnes up top, then it's pace wise it's frightening. Yes. And then you've got Vardy coming off the bench. So,
and could you imagine Barnes on one wing, James on the other? I mean, it would be. Oh yes, something. And the problem, no disrespect to Man United, and it's nice for a change when I tune into all these channels and I see all these Leicester players are being linked with other clubs, and other clubs want our players, that we're actually maybe chasing somebody else from their clubs. But he's young. I mean, he's only what? Let's just have a look here. He's 21. He's played at all levels for Wales, under 17 through up to the senior squad. 24 appearances for Wales senior squad for 4 goals. I mean, obviously, it's Wales, so we have to take that with due respect. No disrespect to them. Well, yeah, probably total disrespect to them. But just like I say, he's more our sort of player. He's younger. It might be expensive coming from Man United. They may be thinking like, yeah, look what you did to us with Harry Maguire. We're gonna knob you over with this one. Facebook user here agrees. Daniel James is a must buy. Yeah, for me, we do need that other person on that wing. Although of course we're going to have the option of Piero Ricardo moving up if Castagna's playing that right wing, right back position. But it just keeps coming back for me to the number of games we're going to have in all the different competitions. And if we want to go further, we need the squad, and I think this would be a great addition.
Definitely, mate. And for me, like you say, he's mould for it. He's honest, he's young. You can tell whether club he plays at, whether it's for Man United, he's always a hard worker as well, and he's not scared to have a run when the ball's at his feet. He'll run at defenders, and definitely, I think again, it's another player that were we to bring him in, whether it be on loan or we sign him permanently, it'd be a fantastic addition for us without doubt.
One that I don't really know this guy, but Scott's come up here. Kamal Sowa. He plays right wing and played for our sister club on O'Laven last season. Don't know much about him.
I think was he one of our young lads that went out on loan to them?
I think he was. Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah,
but I don't think he's actually. I mean, you've got the likes of Dewsbury Hall that we know and we followed, and I think he's going to get a few games next season. I don't know enough of him. Now JB is disagreeing with us here. Daniel James is rubbish. Now his best goal scoring season just league is 4 goals in the Championship, but then we wouldn't be signing him as a striker, really, would we?
That's the thing, mate. I mean, everyone's entitled to an opinion. There's players that I think are crap that other people will think are really good. But you look at that and you think, well, sort of compare the two. But Vardy's first season for us, he scored like 3 goals in the Championship. Look at him now. You never know what's going to happen in the future, do you? So,
no.
I suppose. For me, it makes sense because he has, only albeit 2 seasons in the Premier League he's had, but he's got Premier League experience. He sort of knows what it's going to come up against, and on his day, and he can be absolutely fantastic. So if we could get him for a reasonable price, I don't see why not.
I honestly think, for me, and it is all about opinions, football. I would just love to see him at the club, and I think I could say he's one that. It's more than just a possibility. Moving on from him, though, to one that is probably less of a possibility, but we keep getting linked with him, of course, because of the Brendan Rodgers link. I can't see this happening as much as I would love to. Philippe Coutinho. Could you see that happening?
Stranger things have happened, mate. I didn't think we'd ever sign Cambiasso when we did, but that happened.
That's very true.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's beyond the realms of possibility because purely for the fact that him and Brendan know each other really well from the time at Liverpool. Barcelona financially are in a real rut at the minute. They do need to get rid of players, and I think from what I read the other day, I think they'll be willing to even send him out on loan just to try and chop a bit off the wage bill.
Yes,
if we could get him in, yes, and then if we manage to bring him in, then that would sort of tie into a question I'm sure I'm going to get asked later about a certain player that could potentially leave us. So it's one of them where if one happens, you could sort of see the other thing happening. I'd love him here. From Liverpool, he was in the Premier League standing the season. They came so close to winning the league. He was just untouchable really on his day as a playmaker. He's absolutely incredible. So it's not really happened for him at Barcelona. They paid a lot of money for him, and he's not really shone there as much. But he went out on loan to Bayern Munich and basically won them. They beat Barcelona in the semi-finals, and I think he scored like 2 goals in that. So with Bayern Munich, you're absolutely brilliant, but it just ain't happy from Barcelona. But it could come down to Leicester, and I'm sure he'd prove a lot of people wrong. Put it that way.
Well, I've done. I mean, we know Barcelona almost certainly would sell him cheap because, like you say, they're in such a financial mess. More so than any of the English clubs, which is why the English clubs, I think, felt being able to pull out of the Super League, where the Spanish ones still want it to go ahead.
Exactly,
I mean, the money we would get on shirt sales with his name on, and attendances are full anyway, but I'm sure we'd see more of the cameras down at the KP. My worry would be how disruptive he would be. I mean, do we know why Bayern Munich haven't gone in for him permanently?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. I really don't know. I know they had him for, was it a season or so, something like that. And he performed really well from what we've seen. And like I say, when they completely dismantled Barcelona in that semi-final, I think he came on for like the last half hour of the second leg or something like that, and absolutely. Yeah. Him on his own just absolutely destroyed him. A couple of goals. I think he might have even got a hat-trick, to be honest with you. I can't remember. But again, he's the sort of player where, I mean, whoever gets him is going to have it's going to be a bargain no matter what, because like what you just said, the Barcelona are going to let him go really cheap. So if we could get him, then great. But like I say, stranger things have happened, mate. It's a player that if he came in, I'd be surprised, but I wouldn't be surprised, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, like JB says here as well, I'm sure we're going to get a lot of shirt sales from Zambia for Dhaka. I have noticed quite a few more Zambians asking to join Leicester Till I Die in Facebook, not unlike Algeria when we had a certain Mr. Mahrez come here. The problem is they're quick to disappear when they leave. Barcelona wanted Bayern to pay 100. Yeah, 100. They probably didn't want to ask them too much. And of course, that was that was then, and this is now, as they say, But we're going to look now. Unfortunately, we've got to look at who is being linked with leaving the club. But we're just going to have a very quick 10-second break, and we will be straight back after this. Well, let's hope we can complete a few more. I just want to say that if you see the banner going across the bottom there, that Leicester Till I Die does support hashtag Stop Online Abuse. It's not needed, whoever it is aimed at, and it isn't just aimed at the players. We see that in the news all the time. But there's also, it goes on with guys like myself and my fellow presenters from other channels. I don't get it. Maybe that's because of what I am, if you like. But I do know that a couple of my fellow presenters from other channels have had abuse, and I just think it's disgusting. And if you ever found out on anything to do with Leicester Till I Die to be either any comments that are sexist, racist, or anything like that, you are just kicked out. No second chance at all. Right. Let's have a look now. This was the guy I did have a chat with Dan, who from Turf Moor TV about this guy, because Marc Albrighton, he's been linked with Burnley, and he would be he really loved the thought of him coming, and I think he would be a good buy. But is it too soon to let him go?
I think. Because of all Marc Albrighton, he's a player who I'd absolutely hate to see leave. But I think he'd do really well at a team like Burnley, to be honest. The way they play, whip balls into the box, it'd be sort of a dream for him, really, with the likes of Chris Wood that they've got up top. For nostalgic reasons, I hope keep him, but for the fact that his service to us, and every game he plays, he gives 110%. He might not have the best game, but he gives it his all, and he's sort of a player that's he's not been picked quite a long time. He's never moaned. He's always put a shift in. So, but unfortunately, I do think it's coming to the time where maybe it is best to sort of move him on before not outstays his welcome, because he's an absolute legend for us for what he's bought for us, and considering again another player we got free, but he's one of them players where like Danny Simpson, for example, he's someone who I'd always look out for. I'd always want the best for him as well, because he's still got it in him to play in the Premier League without doubt. So for Burnley, I think it'd be a great signing. I think he'd bring a lot. He'd bring a lot to him as well.
Yeah, I mean, he played 31 times last season. I don't think he probably expected to play that often. It's true to be known, but again, I mean, he's not the spring chicken that he was. Well, no disrespect to him, I'm sure he would admit that himself. And he had good games and bad games last season, but I just think again, what a super sub to have. Bring him on 10 minutes to go, like with Vardy, and he can run at those defences and cause problems when they're knackered.
That's his set piece delivery is still, for me, on his day, he's one of the best crossers of the ball in the league. I know that may sound a bit optimistic, to be honest with you, but as we've all seen, for how long's he been with us now, for the last 6-7 years, coming up, something like that.
Yeah,
he's always, like I say, he's always gave it his all. I'd like to see him stay for maybe another year to be that impact player. But again, I think I'm just reading what Scott's just said there. I think it is, unfortunately, maybe Brendan's sort of looking at it thinking, well, that sort of era's done and dusted, unfortunately. But again, mate, if he stays, fantastic. If he leaves, then he leaves with, I'm sure, every Leicester fan's best wishes, because he's been absolutely superb for us. Yeah.
Like I say, it depends what he wants, really. It's like Ryan Bertrand when he left Southampton. They only wanted to offer him a 1-year contract. He wanted a minimum of a 2. He's got the 2 with us. So it depends what Mark's looking for. If he's looking for regular first team football, and no disrespect to Burnley, he'd probably get it at Burnley. And they have, they haven't got a European campaign to fit in there as well. So it's not the fact they're going to be playing 2 games a lot of weeks. Or would he be happy just, staying at Leicester with the European football that he's likely to get, possibly another trophy, but he's only going to be used, like I say, as a sub, which he was towards the end of last season. So it'd be interesting, that one. I could see him going.
I agree, mate. I think again, he's not an owner, is it? So you don't know. You don't know whether he's to be sitting on the bench or not, and whenever he comes on, he just gives it all. I'm sure he'd play more football, because he's probably only got another 2 or 3 years really. Play well, maybe another top level. So it's a transfer. Yeah, I could see happening, and I wouldn't begrudge it, definitely, if we can hang on to him for another season and he's happy to impact player and come off the bench. And again, in the dressing room for that experience, then it'd be great for us. But if not, like I say, I could see him doing really well at a team like Burnley, or even someone like with Palace, because they've released so many players. They need to get players in. That's a team he could go in and do well. So, but yeah, he's been absolutely fantastic for these days. But if he leaves, then so be it. Bless him.
This gentleman had a really, really, really good Euros. He cost us 12 million when we bought him, but he didn't get a Premier League start last season. We were talking the other day, we did a show just on goalkeepers, and we can remember letting Gordon Banks go because a young Peter Shilton was coming through. I can't somehow see that happening with Kasper, but he cost 12 million. He wasn't even using the cups, to be honest with you, that much, was he, last season? And he's Wales number 1 now. he's probably himself again going to want first team football. Been linked with Wolves because, of course, Wolves have just sold their goalkeeper.
Bit again, mate. Sorry, you brought
Oh, hang on. Did you get any of that at all, Josh?
Can you hear me, mate?
I can hear you. Yeah. Yeah. Did you get any of that?
Yeah. No, just the last bit. Just the last bit that I missed, mate.
Right. No, just saying that he's probably going to want first team football now. Wolves have sold their goalkeeper. It's been rumoured they're interested. I could see him going.
I think with Danny, sort of in a position really now where we sort of knew that as a backup goalkeeper how good Danny Ward is. He's come in. He's always done a good job for us. He's got a bit of reputation himself now as sort of being the penalty sort of saving king for us, bless him. But it's because he's had such a good Euros where people are sort of looking at him now thinking, God, why ain't he getting as much first team football? But then obviously we've got Kasper, who you can't really move him really because he's such a good goalkeeper for us. So it's a good thing that he had a good Euros, but on the other hand, you sort of think, God, yeah, other people are sort of now looking at him thinking, yeah, he could be our first team goalkeeper, and if he wants to leave, then that's great because I think he's showing at the Euros, like you said, mate. It goes to show he could be a lot of teams' first choice goalkeeper and do such a fantastic job. So I think
we've still got
he might maybe after this season or sort of looking, we're getting some more first team football here. But if he's still first choice for Wales, so if he's happy to sort of play a bit part for us and play in the cups and such, then hopefully we can keep him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking here. I mean, he hasn't played in the Premier League for us since we bought him. He hasn't played when he was at Liverpool, and he was there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 seasons. He never played in the Premier League for Liverpool. And yet he must have known when he was coming to Leicester with Kasper in there that it wasn't necessarily going to be any easier for him than it was at Liverpool. But
yeah, exactly.
Even with the cups,
I suppose, yeah. Go on, mate. Carry on. Sorry.
No, even with the cups, he normally would have got a run in the League Cup, but of course we got knocked out of that quite early. He didn't really even get a look in the FA Cup, and we got Jabokovic still. We still got him and Everson, and we seem to be linked with a full team of goalkeepers. So if we were to lose him, I don't think it would be the end of the world, but I can understand him definitely wanting to go.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Like you said, I mean, it'd be a shame because he is a good backup goalkeeper. But again, then where you think, well, like you say, Kasper plays that many first team games for us, and it's a goalkeeper sort of one of them. It's a position where age doesn't really tend to matter as much. You look at like Buffon played. He's still playing now in his 40s, so it's sort of it's not sort of a shortened career as an outfield player. So you want a stronger backup goalkeeper as you can get, but it depends what sort of money you can get for him, really, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Kasper, in fairness to him, is still only 34, and it would be a brave manager, a brave manager that said, "Yeah, we're selling Kasper to get to give Danny Ward a chance." I can imagine being a few protests about that, but wouldn't want to lose him. Wouldn't want to lose Ward, but I can totally understand it a bit more. Like Scott says, I think Brendan will use Danny Ward a bit more often this season. I think if he doesn't, and he doesn't go this season, then he will definitely probably go January time. I think he's just had that taste now that he wants to move on. Now, the three that are going to start worrying us all now as Leicester fans. First of all, this gentleman, Dennis Praet. I love the guy. I don't think he's ever done anything wrong. But I can see, the rumours are that he wants to leave. I think the only team that I've seen him linked with is Arsenal. Could you see him going?
Again, we've said plenty of times on many pre-match shows before that when he does get picked, we've both been quite happy with it because again, like you say, he is a player where he's never done anything wrong. I think a lot of fans sort of look at him thinking, what does he offer for us? But it's sort of flexibility in where he can play. He can play attacking, he can play defensive mid, he can play centre mid, and he's just he's not a player that anything wrong for me. It's a shame that he hasn't played more football than what he has done for us. I know. He had a pretty bad injury that kept him out for a while, but he's a Belgian international, really. So he's got to sort of look at it thinking, I'm not really getting much game time here. I know, and the Belgian national teams, it's a treasure of risk, really. They could pick who they want, and he keeps getting in the team, but he's got to be looking at it now thinking, I'm not getting much football. I need to, especially for his international career, he may need to look elsewhere, which would be unfortunate because I think he's a good player for us.
Yeah, it would be. And we're going to come on now to the bum squeaky time moment where these players might or might not go. Going to stick with this. We're going to go to this one first of all. James Maddison. If you're going on current form, you'd have to probably say, would he be a big miss? And if he was to go, then Praet might actually get more game time. But he's been linked with Arsenal. Arsenal sort of kind of see him as a marquee purchase, if you like. I know they're after Ben White and the bulk they're being asked 70-80 million for Ben White, whether and they're saying they can't afford that. We're not going to let this guy go cheaply. I'm sure we've got a good sell on clause that we've got to pay to Norwich as well, tied in there. I can't see it happening. What are Arsenal going to give him more than we can? Maybe a bit more money. But he's enjoying his time at Leicester. He's an FA Cup winner. He's in Europe again. What would he get at Arsenal?
It's hard to say. I mean, one, he'd be living in the capital. I suppose the lure of London is, especially to the younger players, it's sort of it's a big incentive for him, I guess. I think he's probably he might be looking at Ben Chilwell as well. Moving to Chelsea, and Chilwell's getting in his ear a little bit, saying, living down here is fantastic. Just little things like that we don't think of. We just look at it footballing wise, I guess. It sounds like they're sort of double what he's on with us, so it's more money for the lad. But he's a young footballing terms. He's a young, and I suppose. And they were speaking about this on the. I watched some YouTube video the other day, and they were saying, why would he move to Arsenal? They're in no position better than us at the minute. I'd probably say at the minute we're probably more attractive club to play for than them. And I never thought I'd say that in my life. For me, it maybe be, like I said, mate. The chance to live in London, more money, I suppose. I'm not naive enough to say that Arsenal aren't a bigger club than us, because they are a bigger club. But like I say, at the minute, or in the league, you'd probably fancy us to join us or stay at us more than you would playing for Arsenal. But having said that, it's a signing that for them that I could see potentially happening. I think it's got a lot of truth to it, and it seems to be a bit closer than maybe what we'd like it to be. But like you say, on current form, and I think since his hip injury, really, it's no fault of his own. He's come back and he's not, unfortunately, not been the same player as what he was, because he started off the season on fire, to be honest. And then he got injured for a long time, and he sort of come back and he didn't really look him sort of play. So it was a 60-odd million for him. If we can get that, if it's between him and Tielemans, I'd sell Maddison all day long.
Yes, yeah. I mean, this is the point, isn't it? I mean, we've got it, and he's got another 2 years on his contract, I believe. We don't have to sell, and in the past, when you look at Mahrez and Maguire and Chilwell to a point, it has been a case of, if you want him, stump up the money, and if somebody offers us 70, I mean, I've been saying, don't come in anything under 70 million. And if you can't afford 70 million, then go away, because we have, I do believe, got that big sell-on clause with Norwich. But yes, any player, we've seen that, we don't have to sell. We can put a foot and say, no, we're not selling. But if they do come in with stupid money, like Man United for Maguire, and then, who knows? I mean, there's a comment here. I'm just going to go back up and try and find it. Now, I'm not sure whether this is Heinz or HP, JB, but you said your sources that Tielemans will sign a new contract as Liverpool can't afford him, and Maddison will stay unless Arsenal put a crazy bid in, which we possibly couldn't refuse. I have heard that today. I'm going to be honest with you about Liverpool and this gentleman, because this would be no player's irreplaceable, but it would be a huge loss, wouldn't it?
It'd be a massive loss, mate. It really would, especially last. It's really.
You're breaking up a bit.
To be honest with you, you're still there, mate. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think last season really showed how much we do rely on him. Again, like I just said, if it's between him and Maddison, I think we're sort of maybe each season, each pre-season, we sort of come to the realization now that one of our bigger players will leave, but. Going back to what you said about we don't have to sell. We're not in a position where we need the money. And it annoys me when people say, oh, yeah, Leicester is a selling club. We're a selling club. We're not at all. These are players that want to leave, that have wanted to leave in the past. Like Chilwell wanted to leave, Maguire, Kante, Mahrez couldn't wait to get out. He was sitting on airport floors and all sorts. He couldn't wait to get away. So these are players that obviously want to leave, and fair play to them. Football career is really short. If they think they can get more money and more trophies elsewhere, fair enough. But I think with Yuri, for me, it might be a case of what I looked at with when we have Maguire, think we'll get anything out of him. And then if we don't get Champions League next season, he's a player that could potentially think, well, I want to be playing Champions League football here. I've gave Leicester a good few years, and maybe now's my time to leave. So I think hopefully with the Tielemans thing, you could say, he's going to sign, which is great because it means we get at least another season out of him. But in the long run, it just potentially means that maybe we've said to him behind closed doors, listen, stay with us for another season. If we don't get Champions League, then we'll let clubs come in for your next season, and we'll get more money for him because he's got more years on his contract. So hopefully he stays, because he's absolutely pivotal and he's vital for us.
He is. I mean, if he was to sit down. And whether it's a case of whether Liverpool could afford him or not, but if the move just doesn't happen to Liverpool and he signs a new contract with us, I mean, that is just bigging this up so much, isn't it?
It is, yeah, definitely. And, I think, like you said, we go back to even little things like utilities and, the fact that we won, the FA Cup last season, thanks to and his wonder goal, to be honest with you.
Yes.
But again, he's another player where he's sort of be like a Kante player for us. If it killed me watching him leave, but I could never really begrudge him leaving, if that makes sense, because I know he's sort of he's one of the players where he'd leave for the right reasons. He wouldn't just leave for money. He'd leave purely because he wanted to win more trophies, which you can't begrudge anybody really. So hopefully we won't have to discuss. Tears about for at least another season or so.
I mean, as fans, we do tend to forget this, that, in all fairness to Tielemans, Maddison, Danny Ward, Dennis Praet, Marc Albrighton, none of them have got any reason. They don't owe Leicester City anything because they've come to Leicester City. They've done a job for us and we've paid them. And it's like me, or you, in our jobs, we go in and do a job. So I used to work in sales, and yes, I got some Salesman of the Year or Salesman of the Month awards. But if another job came along, I left and went for that job because it was better prospects for me. And we forget this as fans. I do as much as everybody else, and it's annoying. But like you say, these players, they want to get on, and it is a short career. But But hey, you know, we're not the selling club that we used to be. I mean, I was talking to Alan Smith the other day. I don't know if you've seen the video yet. And, you know, we had to, you know, we sold Gary Lineker. Then the year after we sold him, we loaned him back and what have you. But that was the club. Now, come in with a silly offer and we'll consider it. You know, but we're not going to sell just because you want to.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's down to we don't need the money. You know, that's why people are having to, clubs are having to pay silly for our players. Who you know, this time 10 years ago, who would have ever thought we'd sell a centre back to Man United for 80+ million? I think if you'd gone back now and told yourself that, nah, you're crazy. Do you know what I mean? But now we are in that position, and we're very fortunate with it. And you know, long may it continue. We keep finding these players, and if it means them on 2 or 3 years down the line for we get 60-70 million profit, and we keep bringing the players in, then it's a system that's working. And maybe other teams will look at us now envious, thinking, God, Leicester are doing this. How come we ain't doing it? So.
To be honest with you, I'm getting that a lot when I'm seeing other channels and I'm being invited on other channels, is that they are jealous of our scouting system. Because I'm saying at the end of the day, the problem with a lot of these bigger clubs is they're scared to take a risk. You know, we take the risk. We take the risk for 20 million and we buy a player in. You know, let's have a look at Fofana. We paid, 29 million for him? Which is nothing these days. But if we sell him, we're going to spend 80, you know, we're going to ask at least 80 for him, I would imagine. But why aren't these clubs that are linked with him, Arsenal, Man United, all these other clubs, why aren't they going out and getting him at 29 million? Do you know what I mean? But
exactly,
they're
mate.
not, because they want the ready-made player.
Exactly. That's it. I suppose they want success now, and you know, being Man United fans and being as used to success as what they are, I suppose you become accustomed to it, and you don't really want to be waiting 2 or 3 years to see if a player's going to come. For example, for them is when they saw Memphis Depay, and then you know he left them, went to Lyon, and basically showed the world what he'd do. He didn't have a great season at Man United, and they fobbed him off, and then he went to Lyon and he's been absolutely superb. Now he's at Barcelona. So I think the thing I look at it, you know, I mean, like Leicester's my life. It really is.
Yeah.
So I look at it now, and I've always been proud to be a Leicester fan, but the way we ran now makes you even more proud. You know, because like what you said, you know, you yourself talking to other fans on different channels, and them being really envious of our club and how we do things from transfers in and out, and we're in such a good position, and it's sort of something where we sort of got to enjoy it for. Hopefully, it lasts forever. Hopefully, it lasts my lifetime. But yeah,
I don't know about that. Hopefully, it will definitely last my lifetime. But I'm a bit closer to the end than you are, mate. You know. And sometimes watching Leicester, I think they'll kill me off with a bad dicky heart. But yeah, it's great. It's great. It's great. And I think the good thing as well is we can probably have a very easy transfer deadline day, because I don't think any of our signings will be going down to the last minute or 19 seconds again. But I want to just, before you go, want to bring in my last thoughts. And these aren't players that have necessarily been linked with any other clubs, but I am questioning as to whether they might go because of, you know, the midfield players. We've got Samari in, we've been linked with the right winger, and that's 3 players: Mendy, Chowdhury, and Perez. I could see maybe not Perez, because Brendan there is something about him that Brendan likes, whatever, you know, we as fans can't see. And, you know, while Brendan likes him, you know, Brendan's the man. But certainly Mendy or Chowdhury, I could possibly see going, or at least one of them.
I think both of them, really. I mean, again, with Mendy, I think he made at the start of the season anyway. He played more minutes than he could dream of, really.
Yes.
I didn't think he definitely didn't think get that much football. Again, I think they're both players where come on and job. I think maybe it sort of looks like Hamza's going to be the one that is going to leave. I think
And
he
would you be
definitely
sorry at
more
that?
football than. Say that again. Sorry.
Would you be sorry if he left? I have to be totally honest with you. I know he's a Leicester lad. He's come through the systems, but
Yeah.
he's proved to be troublesome. He doesn't like to sort of do as he's told, and he causes a bit of problems. He's always got a red card in him when he comes on. For me, and it depends obviously whether now we've got Samari in, whether Tielemans or Maddison leaves, obviously. But Mendy for me is still that. Shouldn't indeed he ever get injured, Mendy can come in and do a damn good job. And I can't always trust Chowdhury.
I agree. I think he's just got a bit more fire in his play. Whereas, you look at some of the changes he puts in, he wins the ball, but you think, Jesus Christ, he was so to potentially getting at least a yellow or a card there. Mendy's a bit more clever in how he plays, how he moves, and he nicks the ball here and there. If it's choice between the two, I'd probably keep Mendy and get rid of Chowdhury if he wants to leave, which I think he does. I think he's a sort of player where I think he'd suit. I know he's been linked strongly with Newcastle, but I think he'd definitely suit like one of the promoted clubs coming up. He's a player with a lot of tenacity. He fights for the ball. He again puts in probably too much effort at times with some of his challenges. So, but yeah, I think unfortunately it's probably going to be one or the other leaving. I can see it. I can see it, Hamza.
Rich, you've come in here. Any players you're worried about leaving? We've literally just gone through about 6 that we are worried about leaving. Rich, you've missed it all. But Rich, if you've got 5 minutes, tell us about come in and tell us about Daniel James, because we think we might be in a chance of getting him. I'll just put the link in the chat there. So, Rich, come on, tell us. We're going to talk about taking a player from you rather than you talking about taking a player from us. So let us know. Come in and tell us if you think he's any good or not, because we seem to think he was. We both would like him. A couple of other fans weren't too sure. If you've got time to pop on, Rich, that would be great. It's an exciting season to look forward to, isn't it, Josh?
It is, mate. It really is. I think it's going to be a lot tougher than. I think the whole season is going to be a lot tougher than it was last season. Everybody's, like say, especially yourselves, doing the business as early as what we said earlier. It's a surprise, but I think there's other teams in the Premier League that are sort of maybe looking at I think a lot of players, a lot of clubs are trying to get before the Euros because Euros adds money onto prices, don't it? You see, so but it's going to be tough, mate. I'm not going to make any. I know I've pictured in my head about where I think we'll finish in cups and things. I could tell you now if you want. I might change it nearer towards the start of the season.
No, go for it. Go for it. Because the interesting thing was we did a show just after the season ended about where we all thought all the who'd be in the top 4 and what have you. And of course that was before any signings were made or anything. But yeah, go on. Give me the your predictions.
I think. I mean, for me personally, it's just my opinion and what I'd be happy with. I think clubs like Spurs, I think they are going to have a stronger season. They're going to be harder to beat with Nuno coming in defensively anyway. So I think they're going to be a bit stronger. So I think maybe pushing for top 4 is going to be out of our reach again. But I don't think we're going to be in a situation or a case where we bottle it, so to speak. Because I don't think we are going to be really. And it sounds awful to say, but I think we could push for top 6. I'll be happy with maybe personally. I'd be happy with 6th to 8th, a better in Europa League. I think that's a competition where we can. This season we could really go for it. If I'm being honest, I think we've bought in the right players and we've got enough strength and depth to really challenge for that. Another FA Cup run would be nice, but at least we've won it now, thank God. So that's sort of the proverbial monkey off his back situation where it's one of them where we always thought, God, are we ever going to win it? It's one little fortunate with the Carabao Cup. It's one of them now where it sort of takes quite a bit of a back seat. Do you know what I mean? And I think we're going to see a lot of clubs really that are going to play a lot of fringe players, and maybe whenever you get down, you expect a stronger squad. But for me, mate, I think, like I said, won the FA Cup. I wouldn't be. It'd be nice to have another good run, but I'd like to see us 6th to 8th in the Premier League and a good proper good go at the Europa League would be nice.
Well, I actually said that we would finish 5th again, and I would be happy with 5th. Yes, you know. And Andrew says here there's space in our cabinet for Champions League trophy. I tell you what, there's space in his first cabinet for a nice set of crockery. I don't know about any cups in theirs, but do you know what? I'm going to stick my neck on the line here and say I think we can win the Europa League, because we've seen so many. You know, we've won the Premier League. Well, we've got the full set in this country. You know, Charity / Community Shield we have won, League Cup a few times, Premier League, FA Cup. We've got the full set. We need to now go out into Europe and get something from there. But Brendan's never got past the round of 32 in Europe, or I think it's the round of 32 or the round of 16 in Europe. He needs to get that camel off his back. He's got the FA Cup camel off ours. If we can hold on, if and it's a big if, we can hold on to the players that we've talked about that are leaving, with the ones that we've brought in, with Brendan's tactics, I see there's no reason why we can't win the Europa League. If we win the Europa League, I would be then happier with a 6th or 7th place, to be honest with you. But I think it'd be disappointing not to get European football in some space. Kevin, hey Kevin, thanks for joining us. Finishing the top 4 is my prediction. Now Rich has just got in. He's doing the cooking. Nice. Bless him. Yeah, he's doing the cooking. So I don't want to interrupt your cooking, Rich. So appreciate you can't come on. What you cooking us? Send it round. You can do a nippon. You can actually sit there and eat while you're on. No, you can't. I want to see United keep James. There you go. Depending on circumstances, he's a useful player if played in the preferred position. Sounds like he's a squad player in your mind, but maybe get more time with us. Who knows? But it is here we go. If we win the Europa League, would you do your show topless, Chris? I'm a bit worried about Andy because he's suggesting a few things about me doing things sort of without certain items of clothing on. I am no Gary Lineker. Let me put it that way. Do you know what I mean? It would. For those that are old enough, I'm closer to Erica Rowe than I am to Gary Lineker, but without my top on. No, I wouldn't. Andy, you I actually still haven't got, because I did say I would get a tattoo if we won the FA Cup, and I still haven't done that. I'm blaming that on COVID. I can't get out and get the tattoo done, so people are forgetting about that one. Pete says I will. I'm not sure what is that to. Rich, right, if you think top 4, who do you see dropping out? Go on then. I'll let you go first on this one, Josh.
I sound so pessimistic, I know, but I just think it's Premier League wise, it's going to be a really tough season because there were so many teams last season that performed so poorly, and they ain't going to want to do that again. If anybody is to drop out, oh God, that's Chelsea. Maybe Liverpool. Scratch that. I'd say Liverpool because I think Chelsea are going to run on again next season. I'd have to go for Liverpool, but personally for me, I'd like to see another top 4 challenge. I just don't. This season coming up, I don't really think that we are going to be challenging. Not on our backs, I guess, because so much stronger. But it'd be nice, obviously nice if we were challenging, especially coming towards the last month of the season. If we were in with a shout at top 4, then it'd be fantastic. Yeah. But I just can't see it at the minute.
I mean, I must admit, I've got Chelsea down as winning it next season. And I think if they had Tuchel in from the start this season, I think they would have run Man City a lot, very, very close. But I think he'll make a difference. Now, I would have said Man United to drop out, but of course, you know, Sancho coming in is going to make a big difference. But I do worry about Ollie's tactics. Is as much as you can have the best team in the best players in the world, but it doesn't mean you're going to win anything. And I just wonder, Ollie has made some bad decisions, but I have a feeling it will be actually Liverpool that drop out.
Yeah. I think again. I think a lot of the last season. Obviously, I know they got top 4 end at our expense, really. I guess, but I think the sort of downturn in their season was Van Dijk. Obviously, Gavin his long injury is so pivotal to their defence and midfield, I guess, because they're a lot more tighter in midfield when he plays as well because he's so commanding. So, but with him coming back, I guess it's sort of going to be like a new sign for them. But having said that, I think everybody else, sort of Man United, they've strengthened in areas that they needed to, really. Man City look like they're going to go and blow everybody out of the wall financially wise and sign some big names. For me, it's between Liverpool and Chelsea, but I could see why you've maybe picked Chelsea to win the league because they finished the season strongly and they don't really concede that many goals either. So, and they're really dangerous going forward. So that's why it's going to be really tough this season, unfortunately.
Yes. Well, Andrew, all I'll say is if you want me to go topless next season, if we win the Europa League, it'd be this sort of view that you would be getting of me. It would be from there upwards. I'll get in as close as I can with the camera so it doesn't. I have to. The way I position myself is so I can rest my man boobs on the table as I'm presenting. and rumours, of course, have it that the way Josh sits is so he can rest something else. But we won't go into there. But apparently, his wife has been very happy since they got married. That's all I'll say. Rich says we're going to be playing a more attacking 4-3-3 next season. Yeah, like I said, I didn't say that you were going to drop out because I think you will have that little bit too much. But we find when Van Dijk comes back, will he be the same player? Ooh. I don't think he will. He's been out a long time. It will take him a while to get back to his standard.
I think, to be honest with you, my prediction is just completely. You're gonna have to ask me again at least a week before because I'll probably change my mind. By the first game of the season against Wolves, I'll probably go on to say, "Yeah, we'll win it." We're gonna win the league.
We're Leicester fans. We're used to sort of being let down. Somebody said to me actually the other week. He said. It might have been Rich, actually. So it was definitely somebody in another chat saying, where did I think Leicester would finish next season? And I said, are you talking about weeks 1 to 37 or week 38? If it's week 1 to 37, I'll go for 4th. If it's week 38, I'll go for 5th. So that's typical with Leicester. Josh, thanks very much. I had a bit of difficulty getting you on. Don't they? Yeah, they do indeed. They do indeed. I am actually only 21. I just look this age because I support Leicester. But you know what? It took us a while, but we got you back on. It's nice to have you back.
Glad to be back, mate. Glad to be back. It's nice to be back on. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank your wife for sparing you for an hour or so and coming on, and but don't thank the kid for wetting your phone just before you did come on.
I know, yeah, little buggers.
Yeah.
Cheers,
anyway.
Robbie. I'll see you again soon, pal.
See you soon, mate. All the best. Take care.
Have a good weekend, bud. Ta-ra, mate.
And you, bud. Cheers now. Bye-bye. Oh, thanks to Josh for coming on. Yeah, it was. What are you trying to say, Pete? I don't. Hey, Seriously, I know I don't. That's why I have these other people on. You see, I am the Susanna Reid to their Piers Morgan. They were back to men boobs, aren't we? You know. Scott says here, since the start of the season, I'll put a small bet down for Leicester to win the quadruple. Might as well dream, eh? If it's 5,000 to 1, mate, it will be worth doing, guys. Hey, thanks for listening in. I just want to tell you, don't forget that we've got this coming up on Monday.
It's the Big Fat Football Quiz with Leicester Till I Die TV.
So you think you know your football?
Well, let's see.
Indeed, we started it the other week, and we started it last night actually with a Leicester fan who set the bar quite high at 44 out of 60. On Monday, we've got the Burnley fan, Dan from Turf Moor TV, coming on. He's going to represent Burnley. He's going to have 10 questions on Burnley that are worth 2 points each. He's going to have 5 questions on the football in general that will be worth 3 points each. And then he's going to have 5 questions on Leicester. See what he knows about Leicester that are worth 5 points each. Can he beat 44 and go to the top of the table? He's not confident. I don't think he will do. I think Matt, who represented Leicester yesterday, set the bar high. But Dan, he's going to be in on Monday doing the quiz. And on Wednesday, I think it is, we've got Tommy from Tommy Talks Balls TV on YouTube. Give them and Turf Moor House TV as well. Give them both a follow. Tommy is coming in on Wednesday, I think it is, to represent Tottenham Hotspur. Guys, thanks for watching and joining in. Do remember, if you want to listen to back to this, you don't want to watch us, we are available in about 15 minutes on your favourite podcast, whether that be Apple iTunes, Google, Spotify, or Amazon. And if you've got a smart speaker, just ask it to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die, and it will. So, how many of those players are we going to sign? How many of those players are we going to let go? Could be interesting. Could be a long window. I want it to shut now. I want to do a Donald Trump. Stop the count now before anybody leaves. Let's hope we make a couple more signings, though. Thanks for joining us, guys. Have a safe weekend, whatever you do. Take care, and I'll see you Monday at 7 with the Big Fat Quiz with Dan from Turf Moor House TV. Have a good one.
Hello, Matt Elliott here. Be sure to watch Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and follow all their social media platforms for all the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Come to an end. But the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.